Welcome to Bob Folkrad's Hunting Adventure. Did you know there was 9 different species of whitetail? Well, this week we're going to do 2 of those. One in Missouri and one in Louisiana. One thing for sure, a whitetail is a whitetail no matter where he is. 2 exciting hunts coming right up.
Victor Chevrolet, Bass Pro Shops, and Alamocitos Ranch present Bob Folkrad's Hunting Adventures. Seven continents, 80 species, a 5-year quest in the making, high adventure, dangerous game, real-world training tips. This is Bob Folkrad's Hunting Adventures.
We jumped on an airplane and have to overnight in Chicago while I'm missing the first day of Missouri season. And finally get here, and the anticipation and meeting the hunters and, you know, finding your room and hearing all the stories that at that time nobody had any deer down, but there was some missing going on, and there was a father and 2 sons, and they were in there, and they was reminiscing on their archery hunt they had in Iowa. That's what hunting's about right there, is just reminiscing and stories to tell. Oh, look at the white frost. If you're wanting some action and you want to shoot some whitetails, you need to be in the Midwest in the first couple of weeks of November. That's when the action's going to be happening, and it will keep your entertainment going high. There's very few places that I know of that you're going to hit the rut head on and do it in rifle season. That's what I hit on Missouri. The first week in Missouri, I'm hitting the rut head on, and it wasn't disappointing. There was little bucks and big bucks chasing does all over, and the action kept you entertained all day long. One thing that's neat about Missouri is they got the agriculture. I mean, it's just, they've got cornfield after cornfield, and I mean, they've got everything here for those deer to get big. We're hunting right on the edge of Iowa, and that's like a sanctuary by itself because they don't have a rifle season, so you know at any time one of those big bruisers could just walk out and be right there in front of you. But between the terrain and the food plots, I don't even want to call them food plots. I mean, just the cornfield that we were overlooking, I mean, there was lots and lots of feed there, and you knew the deer could walk up. The hiding places are just unbelievable, all the cuts and ridges into it. I mean, you talk about a whitetail haven, it's here. We've been hunting there almost like a bow hunting setup. We got the Iowa line right in front of me, and there's a big chunk of wood, so we know there's nobody in there, and them deer filter out of that and come up in this cornfield. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some decoys out, get them out far enough away so if somebody does happen to come on the other side of the property line and shoot at them, we're staying safety and just have a good laugh at them shooting at them. But hopefully we can suck them to us a little bit, and that's our game plan anyway. Put some stuff on it, make them smell good. We spent, I think, 14 hours in the stand the first day. And the next morning we got up and we get in the stand, and it was a pretty comfortable stand. I put my old safety belt on and snuggled back down in the old stand, and next thing you know, I'm Zing off, I'm nodding off, and no time for nap time when you're hunting rifle season, because them gunshots going off keep you awake. And we had some little bucks chasing some does, and it was that time of year, and some does go by us, and you know, there was enough activity to keep you on your toes the whole time. We just had that feeling that was going to be a great evening, because deer were moving. We looked off to the side, and there's turkeys coming through the field. Missouri, rifle season, and it's happening in the rut. That's an exciting time to be hunting with J&S.
Bob Folkrad's Hunting Adventures is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Vortex, Best of the West Rifles, Huskama Long Range Optics, Kinetrek, Koofaroo, and LJ Blessings Ranch.
The new Victor Chevrolet building is now open. Visit us at 7200 Pittsford Victor Road, Route 96 near Eastview Mall, or victorchevrolet.com.
Although Bob completed his obsession quest taking over 80 animals with a rifle, his first love has always been bow hunting. He's teamed up with longtime friend and archery coach Mike Price to help make you a better bow shot. This week's archery lesson is brought to you by Heritage Archery Academy and these great archery sponsors: Easton, Hoyt, Limb Saver, Gateway Feathers, and Tactical Hearing.
This week we're going to talk about your fletching choices. What are you going to fletch your arrows with? And again, have a reason why. Make common sense, no bullcrap choices. We're back to this, no marketing. Take the marketing out of this thing. So we just want to give you good information. So we're going to go over the attributes of a fletch. Now, fletching can only do two things. It'll cause drag, and that tells the arrow that it's the back. Wherever the fletching's attached to, the fletching's attached here, this drags, so it tells the arrow this is the back. All right? The other thing that it can do is cause rotation. It turns, all right? So a vane, a blazer vane, which is on, God, I'd have to say, at least 80% of the hunting arrows that you buy in a store, okay? So they're smooth on both sides, all right? But the difference between that and a feather, this is a Gateway razor, so this is a 2-inch feather, all right? But what's cool about a feather is one side's rough and one side is smooth. So even if they're straight fletched, they'll still spin, but what they do is they cause more drag. So they drag a little bit more than a blazer. You know how you see some guys put 4 fletch on their arrows? If you use a feather, you wouldn't have to go 4 fletch. All right, it's gonna cost you a little bit more, guys. You gotta pay attention to them. You gotta take care of them a little bit better. But the accuracy is gonna prove itself to you, that it's worth it to go a feather. So the drag is smooth on one side, rough on the other. Okay, that tells the arrow this is the back quicker on a feather. Okay, so this is my 3D arrow. The deal is this. A lot of the guys use blazers. I choose to use a razor. So the razor is the same length, all right? But the deal is that 3 razors weigh less than 1 blazer. So 3 of these Gateway razors weigh less than 1 blazer. So that gives me what? More front of center. Better accuracy downrange. We all know, we keep getting preached through marketing and media that we need front of center. So remember, feathers weigh less than an equivalent vane, and usually 3 of them weigh less than the equivalent in length vane. All right, so if this 4-inch vane is straight fletched, where there's no offset, there's no helical, that won't spin. It'll just cause drag. It'll just go down range, and if my broadhead and I kick the bow, it comes out a little bit, it can't really correct. It corrects very slowly. A feather, if it is straight fletched on a shaft, so there's no helical or no offset, it's rough on one side and smooth on the other, it actually drags. So it drags, but it drags on one side more than another, so it causes rotation. So a straight fletched feather will still rotate, and that gives you downrange accuracy, and it takes control away from the broadhead, no matter what type, no matter if it's fixed or if it's a mechanical. So with a right helical feather, it'll spin much, much, much quicker than a small fletched even right helical. It'll spin and correct very quickly. But the most important thing with a feather is it'll do something that a vane can never do. So if I'm coming out of my bow, let's say I'm coming out of the bow and I torque the bow, my arrow's over here and I torque it so the cable just comes in contact with that feather. Guess what? That feather lays down. If I did the same thing with a vane, and I have clearance if everything's perfect, but if everything's not perfect and I come in contact, it'll actually kick that arrow opposite, because a vane can't lay down, a feather can. All right, so what always gets said is that I don't want to be a tournament shooter, I'm just a hunter. It's more important for a hunter to have finely tuned equipment and make proper choices. The feather is an advantage that it's going to go well for every hunter, whether you're shooting 15 to 20 yards from your tree stand or you're shooting 50 yards at an elk. The whole deal is that we're real passionate about archery, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you're passionate about what you do. Start paying attention to every little detail. Investigate this stuff. Remember, they correct quicker coming out of the bow for when you make a mistake. If you come in contact with a limb, with your tree stand, with anything, they're going to correct quicker and you're going to still have a better opportunity to kill that animal. This should help you with your fletching choices.
We spent, I think, 14 hours in the stand the first day. Kind of foggy and frosty that morning, so they wasn't making much noise. Gosh sakes, it was, I bet 11 o'clock before we seen the next deer. You know, it was just one of them, your heads are starting to nod and you're thinking about maybe getting your lunch out just so you can stay awake. And I don't know where he come from. He come from the right and he came off the top of the hill, but he was right on top of us before we knew it. And from 3 o'clock till dark, we had things happening all the time. We had some does come in and we had a young buck chasing, and then the does would be off, and the next thing you know, they was running past us, and you just knew, think, man, here comes the big buck, and then it would be just a little forkhorn or something like that, but you didn't know whether the big buck was going to be in back of him. So that first day, it was a pretty exciting hunt, and you couldn't wait to get back in, have supper, and listen to the rest of the stories. That's deer camp, having good food and good fellowship and talking about deer hunting. And in this particular camp, there was a lot of stories going on.
I say the little guy's trying to get himself some. He's chasing her around a little bit. Must have caught the scent. You can hear that corn picker up there. He's picking the corn. He's been at it all day. That might be the same deer that we seen this morning.
The sun came out. It was kind of overcast when we first got in there, but boy, as the day went on, the sun just kept getting brighter, and I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock, we seen a little spike come out, and he fed in that old cut-off cornfield, and pretty soon he went back in, and little 4-point came out, and he fed and fed and fed, and you know, just enough deer to keep you interested. An hour later, we look up, and gosh sakes, there's a mother come out, and then pretty soon a yearling, and they kept looking over the shoulder. We knew something was going to pop out in that field, and all of a sudden, just out of the timber comes this big mature deer, and just a beautiful 8-point. And I didn't know he was an 8-point at the time, but he checked him out, and he got to running around out there a little bit, and he realized he should not be in the middle of that field at 3:30 in the afternoon. He was running back for cover. And we're reminiscing, going back and forth, and Kyle's saying, don't let him get any further. And I said, are you on him? He says, don't let him get any further. And I got him. Here we go. Here we go. He went down right there. All right. Right in the middle of the day. Boom. I lost him for a minute. Guys, he was clean up here. That's where we hunted this morning. About that time that gun cracked and he took a couple of jumps. I watched him tip over just inside. And it was lucky he tipped over just inside too, because just about 50 yards from where he tipped over was the Iowa line. So that's how close to the Iowa line we were hunting, which gave him a good sanctuary. And it kept those deer pretty relaxed to be able to come out at 3:30 in the middle of the afternoon and feed. And that's what we were looking for, just a pretty deer. There, about 50 yards away is the Iowa line. That's a pretty heavy beam deer right there, right in the middle of the afternoon. I was just telling the guys back at camp, you can't kill him sitting there on the couch watching TV. Pretty buck, right in the middle of Missouri. Hunting with J&S in Missouri. Next month I'll be hunting with J&S in Iowa. There's a pretty buck right there.
Transportation for all of Bob Folkrod's hunting adventures is provided by Victor Chevrolet. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com. Bob Folkrod's hunting gear includes a 300 short mag, Winchester 180 grain Nosler ballistic tip bullets, Swarovski optics, Redhead Polar Tech base layers, and Redhead Extreme Elements outerwear.
Throughout most of the country, deer activity comes to a slow crawl during the month of January. In most areas, the rut is over and deer are in more of a rehabilitation mode, wanting nothing more than to rest and try to put on the weight lost during the rigorous breeding season. Bob Folkrod knows that one of the most important keys to having a productive hunting trip is timing. Knowing when and where has played a big role in his success over the years, and Bob knows that the time is right to be in the river bottoms of Louisiana, where the whitetail rut is just getting kicked off.
What are you doing? GPS here. You get lost in these swamps, you know, you bet you're lost. I've hunted deer just about every place in the world. Cypress trees, palmettos, right in the middle of this swamp. Geese are flying over, armadillos, hogs. Man, it's got its own beauty, I'll tell you that. There's a deer right there. Doe. Another doe. Little spike. Look at this, they're gonna cross right back of me. I mean, right, you can't believe. We're gonna come right down the side. Walk right through that water. Looking right up at me.
The river bottoms throughout this area are divided up by natural drainages, referred to as sloughs, as well as sections of CRP and other man-made openings that are utilized for planting food plots. Along with an abundance of mass-producing hardwood trees and a dense forest of palmetto bushes, the habitat here is perfect for maintaining a healthy whitetail herd.
Oh, nice buck. Nice buck. That's a good buck right there. Coming this side. Let him go by, let him go by. Look at that, he's gonna cross right in front of me. I just broke my own rule again. Never pass up a deer the first day and shoot the last day.
This segment has been brought to you by the Victor Chevrolet Deal of the Week. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com. Chevrolet.com. Find new roads.
Victor Chevrolet, same place I get my trucks from, and you should too. Here's another little tip that may help you. You know how you go and you're trying to mark your trails, whether it's with push pins or fluorescent tape, or you're tracking a deer after dark and your fluorescent tape comes unrolled. What do you do with it afterwards? I'm not even sure where I got this little bag at, but you know, I can tell you one thing that does work real good is slate call holders. They're round, but you know, this has got for push pins, you know, a little pocket. So I keep a certain amount of push pins in there. I cut a hole in the bottom of the bag just for this, right? So you can see what's happening now, right? Guess what? Turn around, going to mark my trail, going to mark the blood trail, continue to walk. Here it is. When I'm done with it, you turn around, unzip it a little bit. If you turn around and roll it right up inside so it doesn't catch on anything, roll it out, tear it off, roll it out, tear it off. Take your little push pin back, put it back in there, take my little tape down, and that, my folks, is the tip of the day.
Bob Folkrod is hunting near Faraday, Louisiana in early January. Because the rut is just getting kicked off and buck activity is at its best, those midday naps back at camp are out of the question.
This is really the time I need to be hunting that rain this morning. Put me in here what seems to be late, but realistically I'm in here. I'll be in my stand at 11 o'clock and I'm going to hunt the rest of the day. Full moon, that's when I should be in the stand. Wind swirling a little bit. I think it's still good though. Buck right there. He's got heavy bases. That's not what we're looking for though. Nope. Well, there comes another one. A little spike. Hang around the big boys. They'll get hurt.
Bob's stand is located in a dry slough bed, which is bordered to the north by a CRP field and a large section of hardwoods and palmetto. To the south, more hardwoods as well as some large cut bean fields. The CRP and palmetto are prime bedding areas for whitetails. Bob hopes to catch a buck using the dry slough bed to move along the downwind side of the bedding area, checking for the scent of a hot doe. This location is also a great area to catch a doe on her way to the agricultural fields for a little nighttime feeding. Bob knows that one of these does could very well have a boyfriend close behind.
buck right there in the palmettos. That's a good buck right there. There's too much brush though. Just wait him out. Yuck him out. What? There we go. What scared him? Something, oh, that squirrel or a bird or something scared him. He's really in the brush now. Wait. No. Wait. There it comes. Ah, right here. He died right here, right in back of me. I knew I had a lot of confidence in this stand right here. Man, you just can't put a bottleneck like that in the middle of the swamp and not expect to see deer. We seen deer from almost a half hour after we got in the stand the whole time. Whew, he's a little narrow, but he's a heavy horned deer. Whew, nice buck. Look at that. He has been rubbing big old bases onto him. A little sticker gives him 11 points. Whew, hunting down here in the cypress and palmettos and in the swamps. I mean, we set up on them sloughs and the boar been going across them and deer. And we came in here this afternoon, seen that scrape, and just right on the edge of the rut. We're down here hunting in Louisiana with Dee and Jesse Horton. Look at that. Long tines, mature deer. Southeast species in Louisiana with a foot of snow in Pennsylvania, you gotta love it.
Stay tuned till the end of the show for more information on hunting and fishing in Louisiana.
For help with all of your hunt booking needs, contact J&M Safaris at jnmsafaris.com. After your successful hunt of a lifetime, contact Wes Good at CanadiStudio.com for the finest taxidermy in the business. Be sure to follow Bob and all his adventures at BobFolkrod.com and on Facebook.